Nicole Espinoza started her real estate career in 2009 with lenders in foreclosures. During her work, she noticed many of the affected families had little to no information to prevent it. That's when Nicole decided to do something about it and get into short sales. Since, she's saved thousands of homeowners from foreclosure. Nicole is a hardworking mom of two. She's the best-selling author of Short Sales Uncensored and the founder of Short Sale Queen. Now she's ready to share her secrets with the world, the good, the bad, and the ugly in entrepreneurship, and her journey to success. Here's your host of Entrepreneurship #Uncensored with Nicole Espinoza.
Welcome back, episode 4 of Entrepreneurship #Uncensored. And today we're going to do things a little bit different. I am so excited to have not only my sister, but my twin sister, Natasha Castillo.
Put that in there.
I have to say that because I don't say that enough. I just say sister. We just talked about that.
Yes.
Here at the studio with me. And this is the first time that we've actually ever done a video together.
Yeah.
I mean, besides your TikToks. Besides this.
Yeah, and those I have to convince you to do, but yes, this is our first time doing an actual video together.
She does, but it's a lot of fun. But thank you so much for coming up here.
Yes,
and
thanks for having me.
Like I said, today we're going to do things a little bit different, and it's going to be a lot more personal because you are my twin. So we can talk about a lot of different things that I don't think I would normally dive into with other guests. So a little bit about Natasha. She is the owner of Classy and Sassy Salon, and yes, she does my hair, and I always get the most compliments from pretty much everyone. She is also from Dallas, Texas, and she's a mom of 3 to 2 adorable nephews that I have, and 1 niece, and married to my brother-in-law Daniel Castillo. Shout out. And so
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm sure he's watching and commenting and stuff. But so one of the reasons why I wanted you to come up here and to talk to you was, what your brand is a lot different than what most people have. Like, we are blessed to have 100% referral business, right?
Yep.
Like, you don't pay for any real marketing.
No. Which is crazy, and you're asking me a question.
No, yeah, go ahead. It's a podcast.
I don't want to interrupt you.
No, interrupt me. Go ahead.
It's crazy because in my industry, obviously, for me, like you'd have to really pay for all of that stuff. But word of mouth is huge. I've been in business. Let me backtrack. I've been in business almost 11 years, which is crazy. It's flown by.
It really has. I remember when you first started out.
Yeah,
I was her test subject.
Well,
so you
actually,
have tried everything.
Mom was.
Oh yeah, right. Mom was, but then you tried
mom.
everything out on me second.
Yes, well, especially extensions, and that has evolved. I specialize in women's hair, and extensions. I can't talk today. In color, and it's been totally a journey. But yeah, back to what you're saying about advertising. When I first started out, it looked a lot different than it does now, right? So the things that worked for me back then wouldn't work right now. But I had a good group of clients that were super supportive, and I feel like they just advocated for me. And
you have a whole community, like ride or die community, and that's
well, you build relationships, right? And in your industry too,
100%.
Relationships matter, and when you connect with them and you build that relationship, they have the loyalty,
Yep.
And so it has been such a blessing in my life to be able to build those relationships and connections. But yeah, they just advocated for me and wrote reviews and all of that stuff, and it just kind of evolved from there. I started at 20, so I feel like, the odds were against me, and it was a huge struggle in the beginning because, I'm 20 and trying to be taken seriously.
Especially in an industry like hair.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Because you don't usually think, I know none of us were like, oh, you want to do hair? Okay.
Well, and we don't have anybody in our family on either side that does hair. And so, like the national average for hairdressers, like income-wise, is $26,000+ a year.
Right. At that point, why even bother?
Right, exactly. And so
year.
even, our family was like, why are you doing that? What the heck? Like minimum wage. And at the salon that I started at, it was less than minimum wage. And I had to really evaluate things and be like, okay, well, is this like my career, or, do I need to pick something else? And so I was kind of at a standstill. I'm like, okay, what do I do? Do I continue this and go out on my own? And thank God the right people were in my life, and I was able to go out on my own and start that. But it was crazy because obviously it was scary. I remember my husband being like, do you know what you're doing? Like, are you sure you're going to do this?
We have absolutely no
right. And
idea.
I was like, well, no, but I can do this. I got this. And the first weekend that I was on my own, I made more than my 2-week paycheck at the salon where I was commissioned. And I was like, okay, I can do this. I got this. I had to work 2 jobs in the beginning, and it was a huge sacrifice. Time with my family. I had, Gabriel, my oldest. He was my only one. And so I didn't see him a whole lot. And so it was a lot of sacrifice there. But the sacrifice was totally worth it. And I knew the reward would be, that, hey, we get that financial freedom and be able to build my business and, provide for my family, contribute. And it's just kind of evolved from there. I've done a lot that hasn't worked and a lot that has. And it's been amazing to kind of see that growth, and every year financially as well. I mean, my CPA is always like, it's still only you, right? Like,
it's only you. Well, I mean, that's what is crazy, because, I've obviously firsthand seen you grow.
Yeah.
And
get upset that you can't get in the next day.
No, you know what? I miss the days. I mean, great. You're super successful now. Awesome. Congratulations. But
oh my God.
Back in the day, you used to be able to just
squeeze me in,
and I'm not a planner.
I know.
So I'm
but
like,
we worked on that, and now you rebook.
We have.
You're like my only client that didn't rebook.
But that's also part of the family thing,
Yes. Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's been incredible to see you build and to see you go from, because I remember when you were working 2 jobs. I remember when you were just trying to figure it out. And I think
living in a studio apartment.
Yes.
we didn't come from money, and so we've literally had to work for everything that we have.
Yeah.
It's been a blessing though, because I feel like, gives you that sense of pride, like, hey, you know what? I did this, and I built this myself. And, we've always had like the support of our family, but it's never been that financial aspect.
Right.
I mean,
it was just creating solutions. Like,
exactly.
It's like, we don't have a backup plan. So how do we figure this out?
Yes.
And we're very much like go-getters and very driven. And I think a lot of that has to do with the way we were raised. I mean,
For sure.
I remember when Dad, and this was a great thing that I love that he did back in the day when there was like checking accounts. Remember?
Yes.
And he used to give us a bill.
And it would just be one.
It would just be one bill. And he's like, all right, this is how you do your, how you pay your bills. And then I remember, I think mine was the electric. Was mine electric?
Dude, I don't remember.
Okay, so mine was the electric.
going like way back here.
Well, because I think it's really important because, so I have ADD, so hold on, you're distracting me.
Sorry.
But I had electric, and I remember he was like, if you can get it below this number, then you can keep the rest of it. So
Yes.
I would go and turn off all the lights.
That's right.
Nope,
That's right.
you're not using
mine
this.
was water. I don't know.
I don't know, but
I do remember us doing that.
And I just remember having that accountability so young,
Yeah.
right? And he always
treating
talked to us
like adults, right?
Right.
And we never, and we had so much responsibility at such a young age, and so in the work ethic as well,
Yeah, I mean,
we were working at 14?
Chick-fil-A. Yep, Chick-fil-A. That was
Hey,
definitely.
but you know what? Like, I mean,
I
that made
still
such a
say my
difference.
pleasure for everything.
Thank you. Me too. All the time.
Every single thing I say
clients
my
are like,
pleasure.
my pleasure, and I don't notice it because it's just a part of my verbiage now.
Yeah, and I remember, we, at 14, most people were they were shopping in the mall, and we were just so excited because we wanted to go. For us, it was like, we need clothes, and
Right.
they wouldn't
come
buy
from
us
money,
anything. So they were like, okay, fine, no problem, go
Yeah.
work,
We
go,
got this.
Good luck, find a job, and then from
Yeah.
there it just evolved and understanding.
Been hustling since 14 years old.
Yes, for sure.
12, babysitting, that counts too, right?
No, and I think a lot of that has to do, like I said, with the way we were raised. And
Yeah.
early on, like, Dad instilling in us, like, hey, look, like, you have to work if you want these things. And even though in the time we were motivated by like shoes and clothes, it
Motivation's
evolved
a little bit different now,
It
thank
evolved
God.
to survival.
Yeah.
When we moved out and lived on our own.
Exactly. 20s, I feel like a lot of people we're in a totally different place than we were in our 20s. Like, we both had kids really young.
Yep.
And, I always said, like, oh, failure is an option. And it wasn't really failure. It was like not giving up, right? Because it's okay to fail as an entrepreneur, but it's your mindset and you keep going.
In fact, that's like the only thing that's guaranteed
Yep.
is that you're going to fail.
Exactly.
And it's just,
Exactly.
are you going to be defeated by it, or are you going to say, okay, let me pivot and learn from it and keep moving forward? And for us, because like you said, we had kids so early on, it was just
Yeah.
like, we need to go grocery shopping.
Right, yeah.
So we're going to figure out, and for you, I remember when you were working part-time and then you were also working in the salon.
Right.
And for
to sustain the salon.
Yes.
So I basically, my whole goal the first year was to make enough to pay my rent and my products, and everything went back into the salon.
Yep.
And then year 2, I was like, okay, I can quit. And Daniel was like, all right, you got this. And he was super encouraging, and it's just crazy how it just started like taking off, you know? Yep. And
so what do you think, okay, so going to it taking off, like what year of your business do you think was like a milestone for you?
I'd probably say, so I was an educator for Sexy Hair, an education business expert, and that was year 2, and I feel like that kind of was like a game changer for me. I was really big, and still am really big on education, and so continuing education and making sure, obviously, that I'm up to date. But I feel like that changed things for me because I was able to see a different side of the industry, and I was able to really have the brand to back me, you know, and I was like taken a little more seriously.
Kind of a little bit more credibility.
Right, more credibility. And so I just feel like that whole year of, you know, teaching classes to other stylists and doing hair shows and all of that kind of stuff, I mean, I just took everything I learned back into the salon. And I mean, the school that I went to, you know, it was great and it taught me so much and I was able to start, but that just, you know, kind of, like you said, it was like a pivot. And I was like, okay, you know what, like, then I was able to fully focus on the salon, and my numbers started doubling, and, you know, that was like more motivation, like, okay, you know,
you saw people coming back.
Right. I started raising
money.
my prices,
Yeah.
and it was like, it was great. It was like, okay, you know what? Like, I'm starting to build like a real clientele. And it was just, and again, you know, part of being an entrepreneur, right, is like learning what works and what doesn't, and the type of clients that I wanted, and, you know, just, you know, the respect aspect of it, of not just taking anybody, you know.
Which I think is probably the hardest, because in the beginning, you're just like, I need a client.
Well, and that's crazy, because I was talking to somebody a couple weeks ago about how I'm not a people pleaser, and that made me become a people pleaser, because I would always say yes, and I like lived at the salon, and I feel like a lot of people see, you know, like, when other people are successful, oh, you're making like over 6 figures and da-da-da-da, and it's like, do you understand what it took to get there?
Well, I mean, that I think is huge, because when you start your business, of course you're going to always say yes, because you're just excited that someone's there.
You have to
that
learn
someone's engaged, and they're just like, I want to use your services. Okay, that's the hard part when you're marketing and campaigning, because you're trying to get leads, no matter what industry that you're in, like you're saying.
For sure.
And then learning how to, because sometimes it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't know what your client is.
Took me years to figure out.
You don't know who your client is.
Exactly. Of who
But you can never fire me, so I'm the one client that you can't customize.
Yes,
okay, just wanted to put that out there.
We've already had that.
And it's in recording, so it's on.
It's
on
documented.
Yeah.
Crap. Anyways, yes.
She's tried, people. She's tried.
Just a couple of times. It's okay. That's normal, right? No, I feel like that took me a long time to get to find find what I'm like really good at and what I wanted to specialize in, because, you know, obviously when you're doing hair services, there's so many things you could offer. So narrowing it down and finding really my passion, which came in doing continuing education and what I love to do, and so that was like who I was geared towards. And so also taking a lot of social media classes and things like that to help grow my business in that aspect, and let my work do the talking. And I think that has been huge for my business. And also too, like I am a goal planner. Like, I am like a list person, and I'm like, okay, every quarter I'm like, okay, this is what I want to achieve. Let's, you know, regroup. If it didn't work this quarter, what can I do differently there? And I have obviously not just like, you know, everyone does the beginning of the year, but checking back, like, okay, where am I at? Where do I want to be? And what can I do differently to get there? At this point, I am established, and so my goals look a lot differently than they were year 3, you know, and that has been a blessing, you know, and trying to figure out, you know, just making sure I stay motivated and that this is something that I continue to enjoy, because I feel like in the beginning I would just always, like, we were talking about, I would always just say yes to everything, right? And you just get so drained. You're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I live here, and then it's no longer fun.
Well, because you work, you work
well,
like 14.
This is my busy season, holidays. I had to like block this thought out for like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and now COVID is making you wear a mask on top of it, so that's a whole
other thing. No, but yeah.
So okay, so going back to, obviously your growth and everything, what do you think attributed to, what did you have to do to be creative to be able to grow? Like, what was something that you're like, okay, I saw from year 3 to 4, like, major growth in my business? You said that you were an instructor at Sexy Hair, right? Educator at Sexy Hair. And then as far as like marketing, because I know a lot of people, they're like, okay, I don't have any ideas. Like, I don't know how to do that part of my business.
So like I said, what works
you
for
did
me,
Groupon, you did a lot of different things.
So that's what I was just about to say. So
a lot of out of the box things.
Okay, so what worked for me 10 years ago might not work right now.
Right.
But yes, I did, oh my gosh, I did everything. I did, I was determined. Radio station ads. I would go across, like at the complex I was at where I was renting my space, I would go to all the local businesses, hand flyers for a free haircut with color service. I did a referral program. But what I found that worked the best was, being more active on social media, right? And just talking and engaging with my clients, building that relationship and saying, hey, you know what, like, I'm really still continuing trying to build my business. Like, if you know anybody, looking to get extensions, if you know anybody looking to get color, I would really appreciate it if you sent them my way. And just, it's so crazy how when you build that connection, they want to do that for you.
They want to support you.
Yeah, they want to support you because you have that relationship, and they're like, yes, oh my gosh, I have so-and-so, and everybody knows somebody, right? Yep. And everyone, it's crazy, even though this area is saturated with hairdressers and salons, everybody's always looking for a new stylist, right. And
I love that you said that you were really specific on the type of client and that you focused on building relationships. I feel like that's so important because even though in the beginning you have to be creative with different marketing ideas, you focused on, okay, how do I let my, like you said, my work speak for me? Which is huge, right? Because most people try to fake it till you make it. And
Which I did do that in the beginning, to be honest, because I was only 20, and even my clients had been with me literally this entire time since I started out at the first salon I was at. They have no idea that it was like my first year doing hair. Like, specifically, I'm thinking of one client. She's like, if I would have known.
I dare you to tag her.
No. Well, she wouldn't care, but she's like, if I would have known that you were just starting out, I would have never gone to you.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie. It's the confidence. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to lie. There was a couple times when you'd try new ideas that you'd come back and I'd be like, this is my hair. Do I really? No, I'm going to support her. So...
Do we want to get into you doing your own hair a long
No,
time
we really
ago?
don't.
Okay.
So we're gonna go ahead and pivot from this subject.
I'm like, please.
Look, you know what? I've watched you enough that I felt like I knew what I was doing.
It's not like passed on to you, Nicole. Like, my skills aren't passed on just because I can do it.
You
but
just
people
have so
ask all the
much
time.
confidence. So I just felt it.
I was like...
I just felt the confidence.
Well, I guess I feel that way about short sales. All my clients that are realtors, I'm like, listen, let me tell you what a short sale is, okay? Like, I have read the book. I have looked up, watched all the podcasts. Half the stuff, like, I'm like, I already know that. Like, why are you still talking about that?
Oh, my gosh, I love you.
Okay. You see me comment, like, book signing, all the things.
Oh, my gosh. You see, you're so funny. Anyways, okay, I'm like, okay, ADD. So the one thing that I did want to bring up that I thought was really cool, and especially for people that don't know you, is that you've been #1 for Best Salon in Plano, which for me, like, biggest fan, obviously, but you beat out like Dry Bar and like the big brands, like national brands, and that just speaks volumes to like the community that you built. And I feel like, well, first of all, I want you to touch on that because, and I think you kind of already did a little bit where you're like focused on engaging with your clients.
Yeah.
But can you talk about like, because you have a Facebook group, Classy and Sassy Salon on Facebook. So if you guys are here locally, go to Facebook and join the group.
Group, not page.
Yeah, it's a group. And then she's also on Instagram. And you will also notice on TikTok, my son's like, actually it was really funny because Elias this morning, he was like,
oh gosh,
we watch her TikToks every day.
Real people are finding me now on TikTok.
And so it's actually great for service industry. So if you guys are, it is just an incredible outlet to be able to create. It's a video editor basically, right? Like we talked about, they used to have to do it in different apps. And now in one app, you'll be able to create.
Well, what's crazy is it used to be something for teenagers, right?
And a little bit still is, just a little bit.
Okay, whatever. There's a whole other generation. Somebody on live, can you back me up here if you're on TikTok? Anybody? No, listen, I think one of the things that I really love about it is I was starting to get really bored posting before and after pictures of my extensions.
Right, absolutely.
I felt like in order to get engagement, I would have to do something like a huge 7-hour transformation. And I'm so booked, I don't have time to do those huge color corrections all the time.
You also don't want to take on those kind of projects.
But, yeah, well, I do. I like them, but not all the time. And so I just felt like, and anybody that, is on social media, that because of the algorithm, I just feel like Instagram, the platforms are different now, what I mean, to try to get any kind of engagement. It has to be that wow factor. And so I noticed that the first time I did a TikTok for, a hair transformation, people that never comment were like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I can't believe you got your client to do that. And I have people all the time, you want to do a TikTok? I did my makeup, I did my hair. My clients will come in and I'm like.
That's a whole other thing to your community. So.
I know. And so it's so much fun because it's a new way to engage with my clients. And so I accidentally, not intentionally, went viral several times on TikTok. But the whole purpose of being on TikTok was to put it on my other platforms. And it's just crazy because it started blowing up, and that's a whole other thing. Apparently to other teenagers.
My son thinks
I'm
she
famous.
is number one every morning. He's like, okay, did she go viral today? Taka's famous on TikTok, mommy. She should teach you a thing or two.
That part cracks me up
all the time.
You need to teach, my mom about. I'm like, if you only knew your mom could teach me something about social media, and going viral and all of that.
But going back to it, so besides following her on TikTok, so go follow her. Besides that, it's so cool that what you can implement, because like you're saying, you've been able to use that. That was your other avenue now for your business. Because now you get your clients excited. Yeah. They want to be engaged, so then they're going to show their influence and their people in their world.
Because every time they post on their social media, I have people call me all the time. Hey, I saw so-and-so post their hair or this video, and I love it, and I want to come get my hair done, and I'm constantly turning business away, So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I feel like you can't get bored in my industry. And if you are, you should quit. It's just constantly, just like your industry, it's constantly evolving, and you have to stay up with it. There's people in my industry that are still doing hair from 20 years ago, and they refuse to step out of their comfort zone. This is out of my comfort zone. 100%.
Really well.
Thank you. 150%. I've also I hate going live, on Facebook. I'm I feel like I'm talking to myself, and my client's like, you did great. I'm like, no. But I just feel like in order to really continue to stay up with things, you have to be, willing to step out of your comfort zone. I was telling you earlier, I taught this class at my cosmetology school, and if anybody from there sees it, I'm sorry. I was so nervous, and I was like, okay, no, I'm going to do this, and constantly try to push myself to do things that make me uncomfortable, because success does not come from comfort zones. And so I was like, all right, I can do this, and I failed. But I'm going to try again one day if they invite me back.
If I get that invitation,
I will
nail it
to
this time.
Talk to them about my experience, I will go back, and I will keep trying until I get good and I get comfortable,
Well, I think that is a lot of people's struggle just with video in general, right? Am I relevant? Do people actually care what I say? And I think that...
Do I have value?
Right. Am I going to actually add value? And I think a lot of it is because we talk about how people just project this image, right?
Right.
You said this on one of your posts or whatever. You said that, don't be confused about people's highlight reel. I can't remember. It's probably a TikTok. but anyways, but the point is the same.
Well, we compare our reality to their highlight reel.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So,
because it's so easy to do. You look at everybody, like I was telling you before, the people that are successful, they're like, oh, why am I not successful? And it's you might be in a totally different season. person, because that person it hasn't always been like that, you know? Like for me, I mean, it's been hills and valleys, you know, and it's been so many times where, again, I was 21 when I started a business, and it's been, you know, almost 11 years I've been on my own, and most people in my industry fail within the first 5 years. And it's just like,
or not, maybe not even fail, they just don't make hardly any money. Like,
well, they don't make any money, and they quit. That's what I mean by fail. Yeah, they end up quitting 100%. And leaving the industry because they get so discouraged.
You've been able to not only dominate and build this business where you don't have to spend on marketing, which is incredible, which if you guys are paying attention, it's the community, it's showing up and, you know, doing the work, right? Like you're doing a good job. Like she's obviously great at her job, you know. But I'm like a walking advertisement for all your extensions and stuff.
Yeah.
But seriously, I mean, I think that's so important because people focus so much, you know, on trying to keep up with that image, and they don't lead with value. And you didn't start by projecting like, okay, I'm this, and this. You're like, okay, I'm going to do the work, and then here's the example, and then, hey, by the way, if I did a good job, can you come into my community? And that's exactly what you built. I mean, I remember every year that you've, you know, we've all been like, hey, vote for Classy Sassy. Like,
well, that was
you've had
crazy.
people like go, like die hard, like share like crazy.
Well, they took it on as like, this is it. This is my salon. You know what I mean?
This is not just my
business. This is their business. You know, and so absolutely,
and that's a whole culture in itself.
For sure.
And you've turned it into a relationship business. And that's so important because you're not chasing for leads, for new clients. You're not chasing it. You've been able to get to a place where now you get to refer out business or turn down business, which is a totally different vibe than...
I know.
Well, I just want to pay my rent. I just want to pay my rent.
Totally. And it's just crazy because, you know, like we talked about how goals change. Now I'm like, you know, okay, so what are my goals for 2021? Trying to think of...
Survive 2020.
Yeah, well, besides that. Yeah. And so it was crazy too. Even 2020 has still been profitable. I mean, I was closed for 2 months and I was looking at my numbers and I'm still the same as last year. I haven't gone up, but I was closed for 2 months, you know?
Yeah.
And so, trying to figure out like where I want to go with my business, you know what I mean? And, you know, just trying to figure out like I was a boss for 2.5 years and, you know, it was great and it was not great, you know? And so what worked again for building my business didn't work for her, you know? And so just learning from that and growing from that and figuring out, you know, what works and being okay with saying, hey, you know what, like, I didn't do a good job there, and here's where I can improve, and here's what I can do better next time, and just continuing, to do it. So I think that's really important too, you know.
Oh, absolutely. And as we wrap up, because I know I already got the signal that we're
ready,
almost
really?
done. I know. I told you it goes by super quick.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This year, so you said that your numbers were the same. I mean, which is incredible because, like you said, unlike real estate, we could do things virtually. Like you literally could not go into the salon, and they were fighting for that locally. Like, what's something that you pivoted? Because I remember you to create other income and things like that. Like, what do you think? How did you survive COVID? Because there's so many businesses right now.
I had a good amount of savings. I mean, I think that's important too.
Yeah.
But retail, I sold a ton of retail, and I did, not porch pickup because I was at the salon, but literally they can get out of their car, lifted up their trunk, and I put the product in there. And so it was just things like that, trying to be creative on what I can do to pay the rent, because I was still being charged. I was like, okay, what can I do? But also staying in communication with my clients. I started doing like little tutorials because I was like, oh, I have time. I mean, I have 3 kids I had to homeschool, so I didn't have that much time. But
and you
had
my kids too.
Yeah, I know. I'm a super aunt. Okay,
Shout out.
Just saying. So I didn't have that much time, but I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to take advantage and do things that I've been wanting to do and be more active in social media. That's actually when I started TikTok. So anyways, be more active on social media. And so do those like tutorials and things like that and keep people engaged and be like, hey, don't forget about me. Because people are like, oh, I'm not good. Like other stylists that come up to me, how do you do it? I'm like, you have to make time for it. People want to see you. Out of sight, out of mind. Yep. Every single time I post a before and after picture of extensions, I get at least 3 consultations from it, and so things like that.
Just
the
so consistency.
Consistency. And being consistent is huge.
It's hard because, especially with,
so much time.
Your perspective, is just incredible because of everything. you were actually shut down. So like, unlike other businesses that were able to, either sell more or still stay alive, like you had to pivot and change and just figure out what was working and what wasn't working
For sure.
within those 2 months, and then, get right back on track. Because I remember when you were trying to get everybody in and reschedule. And,
oh my gosh, working 6 days a week for the first 6
and
weeks.
so a lot of it is your perspective. And I think, we talk about how success leaves clues, and how, everyone has the same theme when they come on the show. It's like, I kept pushing forward, right? Like, this happened because that's life, right? Sure. Life happens. And then we learn how to pivot and go around it and say, okay, this was a no. How do I get it to a yes? Or how do I go where I need to go? How do I still get the goal? And, in your case, succeed it and still be able to build that brand.
And I think it's also important of who you surround yourself with, because, there's certain times, like I was telling you before, that you can totally get burned out. Yep. It's exhausting, and it's really lonely sometimes being an entrepreneur, because not everybody has that mindset. So I have certain people that I'm like, hey, so what do you think about this? And bounce ideas off of.
And have your tribe.
Exactly. And have people that, also think the way that you think and spur you on. That has been crucial for me in my mindset, to be like, okay, yeah, you know what? Yeah. And it just motivates me all over again, and been like, okay, I can do this. Which
is important. We've got to be our biggest cheerleaders and our
100%.
biggest advocators, because no one's going to get the
us.
business, do it for us. And
for sure. Yeah, that's super important. So yeah, so I think, your mindset, who you surround yourself with, and just keep pushing forward. Thank you. Right back at you.
Okay, so see, I told you I went by super quick.
I know. Was that 30 minutes?
That
for
was
real?
30 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. We are live every Thursday at 3:30. Natasha Castillo, go follow her on TikTok. Instagram is Classy Sassy
Salon TX.
TX. Say it again.
Classy Sassy Salon TX.
Okay, awesome. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.